actually went back and watched the doc after seeing the movie, which is the
Okay.
reverse order. Most people will see it, I assume. But and actually, I have almost as many questions about the doc now for doing that. But uh,
Okay.
how did you first find out about the story and start kind of like working the doc? And then at what point did you say, okay, this will make a great narrative feature? Like, what was like the kind of the progress of that?
Question. I first heard about the story when I bumped into a friend when I was out and about where I live in the West Country of the UK, and uh, and he told me about this health and safety video that he'd made about the accident, and he told me about the story first, and my jaw was on the floor, going, "This is just an unbelievable story," as we all know. And then I watched the health and safety video and just seeing the footage, the ROV footage of where Chris's body is found on top of the manifold. It was seeing that I instantly knew, being in consideration that I'm a documentary maker. I instantly come from a documentary background. I instantly knew at that point that it would make a great feature doc. It
Mm.
was just such a powerful image, such a chilling image, and knowing that he survived that. So I knew from that point to work it up into a feature doc from there. And that took
Mm.
like 5 years to find the funding and get that released to do that. And because I come from a documentary background, it was always the idea of turning to a feature film. That's like complete pie in the sky for me because it's like I'm not of that world, or not, or didn't used to be. Hopefully, I am now.
Mhm.
But the point being that I was using my contacts and my way of getting it made that I possibly could, essentially. So within that, it was always my aim to make the feature doc as cinematic as possible and try and make it as filmic as possible within that, but within the confines of being documentary, obviously.
Mm.
And so 19, and then Paul and Brooks saw the documentary, loved it, optioned it, the producers on the film, and then it went from there basically. And so they're obviously feature producers, and then that was where it got that sort of shift up into becoming a feature.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm amazed at I mean how faithful the feature is. I mean, there's things in there where I'm like, did he actually shoot on the ship, the actual ship? Did he actually have the actual things underwater, or did he actually have rebuild it? I mean, you actually did shoot some stuff on the ship, right?
For the feature or documentary.
For the feature.
Um, well, we had acts. Well, yes. I mean, there's certain shots at the beginning of the film where it's like the detail of the ship. I actually shot that myself for the documentary, and
Oh, okay.
it didn't get used in the documentary,
Mm.
so it's used for this to sort of help set the world up. But in terms of for the feature, we shot a few bits on the ship. Like we went out in a February, unbelievably cold day in February. Out took the ship out into the North Sea. Um, we had access to a DSV in Aberdeen. So when Finn, playing Chris, gets onto the ship and he walks through the ship, that's on a real DSV.
Oh, okay.
Um, so the company who owns the ship that the accident happened on, they allowed us to film on a ship. And then the aerials of it going out, that is the real ship the incident actually happened on.
Mm,
And
okay.
so I, yeah, so I got in a helicopter and filmed that. So yeah, so it's all a mixture of the vast majority is sets built in Malta, but wherever I could, I tried to weave it with real footage or real the actors in the real locations, just to blur the boundaries. It adds to that idea of it being real.
Mm. No, it definitely worked. I mean, when I was watching the doc and I was like, oh, those controls look exactly like the controls in the movie. So obviously, your production designer
Yes,
had the access to the photos and all sorts of stuff to be able to build it on sets as well. Um,
yes. Well, he actually kept when we took it out, when they took it out and kindly took us with it, when we went out in that cold February, Grant Montgomery, the production designer, he came along as well, and he could thoroughly recce the actual real ship as well.
and how much training did the actors have to do? I mean, the two in the water obviously had to do a lot, but also Woody must have had to at least study and know a little bit about what he was going to be playing. And
Yeah, I mean, the two actors in the water, Finn and Simu, they had a month of dive training to do that. So there was scuba first, and then the actual wearing their hat and the umbilical training and all of that. and that was pretty intensive training, and incredible what they went through for that. And then Woody, yes, he did some training. We had a saturation diver as an advisor on set as well. So all the things about using the dials and knobs and how to work the umbilical and all those kind of things, and how to hook up the umbilical as well, was all done authentically with a saturation diver who was helping advise with that.
I mean, it's an amazing story because you watch this. I mean, if you hadn't seen the doc or didn't know about the story, you're watching this, and you're watching Chris. You're like, okay, this guy's dead. I mean, most people, when it was happening, most people assumed he was dead. Also, it's just crazy. Like, you don't think that someone could be underwater for that long without air.
No, no, I mean, that's the amazing thing. That's the whole story. Yeah,
Yeah.
he survived. So, but he survived because of human spirit and people never giving up, and that's what the true story is about. The emotional pull of, you'd want if you were in that situation, you'd want other people around you to do the same for you, wouldn't you? And that's kind of the uplifting nature of the film.
Yeah, and actually, the fact that they still went back and continued to do the job. But have they all seen the movie? Have they met the actors? Has been any kind of like
Yeah,
feedback from them about rewatching it being recreated? I mean, they obviously must have watched the doc as well, I assume.
yes, the Simu doc,
Yeah.
and then they all came out to set while they were filming in Malta, so they all met their real count. So all the actors, the cast met their real counterparts, so that was great. And then they have all seen the finished feature as well, and they all love it.
Now, were you able to use some? You said you used some footage from the doc in the feature, like is Chris on the manifold? Is that actually Chris, or is that did you
Yes,
recreate
it
that?
is.
Oh, okay.
So there's bits of real Chris in other bits of the film. Duncan actually appears in the background in one of the shots, um, but there's yes, the beginning, the opening sequence is peppered with bits of footage from the real ship, interspersed with sets and all that kind of stuff. And then when it came to Chris on top of the manifold, that was a mix of the real ROV footage and we had an ROV in the tank as well. There's mixed with ROV footage of our cast interspersed with real footage as well. Because I think the real footage of Chris on top of the manifold, as I said, the documentary, I was hooked when I saw the real footage of that. And that's been the sort of the common thread throughout all of this is that is the real footage. Because it's so powerful, so chilling, that it's impossible to recreate, I would say.
Hmm. It's not often that a filmmaker will remake or adapt his own movie and tell a story the second time in a different way. It's not often. For you? Is it? What was it like?
Well, I mean, the thing is that with a documentary, obviously it's quite factual, very factual, and it's a telling of that, and you get into some of the drama and tension. But with the feature, it allowed me to tell it on a much bigger scope and scale, also get into the emotional arcs of the characters much more as well, and also make it a much more immersive experiential watch as well. And that's the point of the different point of difference is that one is experiential and emotional, and the other is sort of, oh my God, I can't believe that's true. Even though they're both true stories, so they're kind of companion pieces in that sense.
Sure, sure. And I hope that eventually the two will be on, like if they do a Blu-ray or DVD of the thing,
Yeah,
they'll have the documentary on there as well, because I think a lot of
yeah.
people will benefit from seeing that to see what, those are real people. And
I think so, and I think strangely, I think the right way around to do it is to watch the feature first and then watch the documentary to sort of understand that world a bit more.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, I agree. That definitely helped me. So listen, thanks a lot, Alex. It's great meeting you. Congratulations on the film and getting this film
yeah,
done, and can't wait to see what you do next. So take care.
fantastic. Thanks so much.